Some general items here. So your speed came out as what, the one? Oh, this one is not correct. So should be about 111. At the second trial, we had some issues with the cliphead markers. So we need to reprocess that one. But so about 111, which is good. Elite men's average is about 110. So professional players, college players, and then some teaching professionals. Are you a caddying?
I'm caddying right now. I used to want to go pro.
So, and then so your speed is similar to elite men's average maximum. But for your height, you are generating good speed here. So, which is good. I think this number came up with somewhere here. But so, and also overall swing time here. This is an elite men's average, but you're using a bit more time than elite men's average. But I want to shorten time a little bit. So make the backswing a bit faster.
Backswing faster.
Make the backswing a bit faster. Then it'll be perfect. Okay. And also, so during the backswing, from here to here, the club speed increases and the peaks about here. So this is the right side of the middle point here, which is good. So generally, a lot of people, they have early quick motion. Then what happens is the peak speed occurs at the middle of the backswing here, time-wise. But yours is slightly on the right side. So timing-wise, this is a lot better. And then when you have a faster backswing, because of the momentum, when you have a faster backswing, then you have to actively slow this down, right? So with that, this peak will go more to this side here, and then you'll have good connection from the backswing to downswing. That actually promotes dynamics in the downswing. So you will have a lot of benefit at your level. You will have a lot of benefit when you increase the backswing speed. Okay. You have good separation between this one and this one here. This is 5 and this is 6. This is a bit too far so that you cannot see that number, but this is when the pelvis rotation is completed. So then the pelvis starts rotating in the opposite direction. This is the club transition point. So between pelvis transition point and club transition point, you have good time gap there. That means you have elongated the transition phase, which is good. But when you speed up the backswing, then this will be even more elongated. So, but still, you have really good transition phase time. Okay.
And that is this.
Not that motion. The pelvis finishes the rotation, then it's turning this way, but the club now starts turning here. You don't need to intentionally turn the pelvis, but just simply from the pelvis transition point to the club transition point. That's the transition phase. Okay. But the time gap is good. Okay. And then this is the top view. So looking down, this large rectangle here is the swing plane. So your swing plane is slightly outward here. It's about 4.7 degrees.
Inside out.
Yeah, and then your hand motion plane is also slightly outward here, but these are fairly parallel to each other. I want you to decrease this a little bit, but this is not too bad. Okay, so about here maybe 2 degrees. This is also about 2 degrees. So generally, when you keep the swing plane and hand motion plane parallel to each other, then you just throw your hands toward the target. The club head will also move in that direction. So, so the two planes are fairly well aligned, but they are slightly into out. Yeah. So what happens is at impact, so this is impact. Still, the direction of the club head motion is slightly outward. So you have to bring the ball using a draw spin here. And then this is the swing plane. This straight line is your swing plane, calculated from the cleaved motion from horizontal to horizontal. And then, so initially the cleaved goes above your swing plane here, and the cleaved stays above. At the top here, this is fairly parallel to the swing plane, so it's good. And then on the way down, you are shallowing here. So about here, the cleaved head is fairly close to the swing plane. And then from there, you have a good planar motion here. And then throw. So here we have this much deviation from the swing plane. So this and this are fairly well balanced. That means you're not pulling in a lot or going out and then flipping like this. So this is quite well balanced. The only thing that since your swing plane is slightly outward, that means this is coming a bit closer to your body. Then you have to move your body away so that you make a space here. But other than that, generally your swing looks really good here. So on the way down, the reason why the right heel leaves the ground early is because you tend to move this way slightly to make a space here. So then your heel cannot stay there. So you have to lift the heel early. So that is associated with the into-out swing plane. And then slope is 47.9 degrees on the average here. This is a bit steeper. The swing plane has to, on the average, it passes about here. So it's a slightly steeper, but I don't think it's a major problem. No need to worry about that. And then the hand motion plane is about 56, I think, here. So about 9 degrees, that's perfect. That's the average difference between the slope of the hand motion plane and then swing plane. So which is quite normal. So I don't see any major issues here, which is good news. Now this red line here shows your whole body center of mass motion. So this red dot here is the whole body center of mass.
Is that right above the pelvis, maybe?
Yeah. So this is the pelvis center of mass. This is the whole body center of mass. And as you can see, your center of mass moves away, goes up, diagonally down, and then diagonally up here. So at impact, so around the impact, your center of mass is here. This is actually quite high. You are moving your body up quite high here. So what should happen is this part is okay. Then when you go down, you have to actually drop it more. And then coming up here, then at impact, you will be somewhere here. Okay? But this low point should be lower. So you have to let your body drop a bit more instead standing up like this. Okay? If you slide and then move your body up, then this happens. But kick the ground good with the right leg and then let it drop and then kick using the left side. So then this goes a bit more down. Okay? And we will see this, what happens in the swing. But yeah, it is important to drop the center of mass a bit more. So you have up motion and then down motion and then up motion here. But at the in the down motion, the low point should be lower than the initial.
So kind of like more.
Yeah, you don't have to lean forward, but when you have a good push here, then just you don't push that hard, then automatically the body drops and then kick again. So when you have good pushes from trail side and then leader side here, you don't have to intentionally drop the body. Just the push and then push here. Between the pushes, automatically your body goes down. But for that, you need the good push in the backswing. Okay? But you already have, I think, a good push here. So it's moving up, but then it's a matter of, this is related to your backswing speed. If your backswing is faster, then it's easier to drop this. With a faster motion, you're pushing harder. With that, you have good upward motion. And then, if you don't push that hard later, automatically body drops. And then left side push. So if you increase the backswing speed, then this will automatically change to a certain extent. And then the pelvis motion here. So this is the right turn. The red line here, this shows a pelvis turn this way here. So this is right turn. This is when you turn your pelvis the most. So this is 5, which is the end of pelvis rotation. And then 6 is top of action here. So you are turning a bit more than man's average, elite man's average. And then at impact, you're also turning left quite a bit here. Turning the pelvis left quite a bit. So it's more than man's average. So generally, you have a more pelvis rotation range of motion than typical. The blue line is a lateral tilt. Lateral tilt. And then, so it's hitting about here, but it's about man's average. But I want you to drop this a bit more. So in order to do that, you have to support your right side well with the right leg. So by bringing the right hip higher, then you can keep the left side lower. With that, you have good left tilt during the backswing. So this can go a bit more here.
How does that work? Right lateral tilt?
This is relative to if your right hip is higher. So during the backswing, naturally your right hip goes higher.
Yeah.
But if the hip goes backward,
it then
yeah, so you have a tendency of more rotation, right? If the hip goes backward, then it's hard to bring it up.
Yeah, okay. So
Not that way, but more going upward here. Yeah. For that, you have to actually use the right leg to push the ground.
Okay.
Instead of spinning,
Yeah.
you try to bring the hip up. Yeah. So in that case, this will increase. The blue line will go down more. So I want to see more than 20-degree lateral tilt here. And then this green line shows this motion here for the backward tilt. And then when it goes positive, then it means backward tilt. So your pelvis shows a backward tilt, forward tilt from here to here, and the backward tilt. The pattern is normal. And then the upper one is a translational motion. So the red line shows a forward backward motion of the pelvis. So the pelvis goes forward, backward, forward. This is normal. And then the blue is up and down motion. So it gradually goes down and then goes up. And at impact, it's going a lot higher here. So you generally tend to sort of rise up near the impact. Yeah. So we have a down and up. So at impact, you maintain the pelvis a lot higher than the initial position here. The green line is the toward away motion. So you have away motion all the way to this here and then toward the motion here. But this is a bit delayed here. This peak should occur about here and then you have to start moving backward here. So in other words, up to this point, this is the pelvis, end of pelvis rotation here. Okay? So to the point where your pelvis rotation is completed, up to that point, you keep moving away. But actually, what should happen is, if you use the tread leg better, what happens is, initially you are shifting away, but then soon you have a recentering motion while the backswing is in progress. So throw and then shift away and then slide recentering here. So by the time you reach the this point here, end of pelvis rotation, this is when the body center mass is at the high point. By that time, you are returning to this initial position. It's called recentering. So you need to have good shift away and then recenter to that point. Then because you are already recentering, now you can easily push the ground good and then turn around. Currently, you keep moving away almost to the point when the pelvis rotation is completed, then start moving this way and then try to go high up here. So this green line should go away and then start moving toward here. So up to this point, you return to the initial position and then keep moving toward the target here. So if you introduce that recentering motion a bit earlier, then it'll be perfect. Generally, your pelvis motion pattern is really good. So when we move this around here, let's see. In the backswing, you're moving away here, all the way, and then start moving toward target. But try to have a little bit of shift away up to this point, and then from this point on, your body should slightly recenter back to the initial position here. Then you can easily drop the body, and then later you can use the left knee and push the ground. So let's work on this in a little bit after this. So when we need to introduce that recentering motion. And then the thorax motion here, you have a little reverse pivot motion here, which is good. And then you're maintaining the thoracic lean pretty good here. So a thorax motion is also normal. Let's go to X factor here. X factor. So you tend to keep your left arm quite straight. Yeah. See how much hyperextension you have. A little bit of hyperextension here. So when the hip line and the shoulder line align about here, so these are parallel to each other. The red line, the yellow line is the shoulder line, and then this blue line is the hip line here. They are parallel to each other, so there's no angle. So the X factor is 0 here. And after that, shoulder turns more than the hips. So then we have X shape here. Mm-hmm. So the angle increases. And then as you can see, up to this point, angle increases rapidly here. But then the slope suddenly changes, slightly changes here. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Slope changes, and then you're going to this position here. So what that means is that pretty much the shoulder turn is fairly well finished here, and then you have this arm motion from there. So the shoulders are not turning that much, and then you're bringing the arms here, and your arms are almost at the vertical position here. This is a bit too much. No need to go this far. But since you're keeping the arm straight and then you turn that much, that means your body is fairly flexible, which is the positive side. So your shoulders are turning quite a bit here. But when you speed up the backswing, then this becomes more one-piece backswing motion. Then this will just continue all the way to the maximum here. And then the maximum occurs at the top, which is good. So you have a slight change in the slope, and that means the backswing is a bit slow. Yeah. So your body mostly finishes the motion, and then later the arms are moving. But if you speed up the backswing, then this becomes more straighter all the way to the top here. So here we have a little bit of hesitation for the body, and the arms are pretty much moving here during this phase, but which is not too bad. A lot of people just go flat here and then try to increase this more once the downswing starts. But that means the backswing is really poor. But in your case, it's fairly continuous. And your maximum separation exceeds the men's average here. You have good separation. The shoulders are turning quite a bit here. That's good for speed. That way you can use your muscles, big muscles there. Now, kinematic sequence. Kinematic sequence here, don't worry about this. This is from one trial. This is club head speed. But in general, in the kinematic sequence, we have 3 sequences. The first one is the backswing sequence. The second one is a transition sequence here. The third one is a downswing sequence. First, in the backswing sequence, it is basically based on the timings of these peaks here. Red line is the pelvis. and then green is thorax, blue is the shoulders, gray is the arms, and then this is the club. These show the rotational velocity. So you are reaching maximum rotational velocity of the pelvis here. So this is slightly before the midpoint here. So this is appearing a bit earlier. You can move it to more the middle of the backswing. It's because your backswing is still a bit slow. If you speed up the backswing, then you will be able to shorten this phase here. So automatically this goes more to the midpoint of the backswing here. So we have a pelvis peak, then this is a thorax peak and the shoulder peak here, and then arms, and then this is the club. So you have a good sequence here. Generally in the backswing, these three is within the trunk, the pelvis, thorax, and the shoulders, they will reach peak angular velocity almost at the same time in the backswing. And then the arms and club here. So this is partial central to a preferred sequence, but this is normal. But the only thing is that we need to move these peaks slightly more toward the top of backswing. But for that, you have to increase the backswing speed. Then you will be able to cut this portion off here. So then just the acceleration, the deceleration, and then change the direction. Instead of, you see, it goes flat here. That means you have unnecessary hesitation here. But the backswing sequence is good. The transition sequence is here. The pelvis, this is thorax and shoulders. This is arms and the club here, which are quite well spaced. But when you increase the backswing speed, then you can also separate the thorax and the shoulders as well. Because you will be able to use the shoulder girdle motions. So then these will also separate. But currently, you have a good separation, well-spaced transitions here. Just to give a bit faster backswing. With that, using the momentum, you create the coiling, then these two will also separate. Okay? So the transition sequence is also good. Downswing sequence, pretty much all the body parts reach peak angular velocity almost at the same time here, about here, when the club is aligned vertically here. So your peaks are happening here. The timing is good. Don't expect well-spaced sequential onset of peak angular velocities. That's a misconception because the downswing is really short. You have to quickly turn, so you don't have time to have all these separated peaks. So this is perfect. And then, so from here to here, you're losing a lot of pelvis angular velocity, and then the wrist angular velocity here. So that's why you can generate the high club angular velocity here. Okay, so which is good. And then the pink line here shows the wrist angular velocity here. When it's a negative, it means a cocking. If it's a positive, then it's uncocking. So your uncocking starts about here. So I'll move it to that point. So your uncocking starts about here, which is good timing here, which is close to in the frontal view when the lead arm is parallel to the ground. So around that point.
Is this downswing now?
Yeah. Around that point, you have initiation of the uncocking. So timing is really good. Your swing is actually surprisingly good.
Thank you.
In terms of patterns, even in the professional players, you don't see this kind of pattern. But your patterns are quite good here. So the timing is good. So in terms of kinematic sequence, the sequence is really good. The only thing is when you speed up the backswing, make the backswing a bit faster, then this hesitation will go away. You have better connection from backswing to downswing. Then you have also better transition sequence here. So I want to try that with faster backswing. So and then let's go to the frontal view here. So this shows how you use the ground. So you see these arrows here. Mm-hmm. So these are the ground reaction forces measured by using the force plates. And the middle one is the sum of these two, the combined force. So at the beginning, at the beginning of the backswing, the red line is the combined force. Green is the force acting on the lead foot. Blue is the force acting on the trail foot here. So at the beginning of the backswing, you have more force acting on the lead foot. This is also good. That means that when you start the backswing, you're pushing the ground with the lead leg and then start here. And then eventually the two forces will become equal to each other about here. Then you will have the peak force acting on the trail side here. This timing is really good. And then also you have a push here. So about here, this red line becomes a maximum here, around when the club is horizontal. So usually at this point, we have a peak force here in the backswing. But this can go a bit higher. The unit here is one body weight. So when you start the backswing from the setup position, then the total force is equal to your body weight. But then during the backswing, when you push the ground actively with the trail leg, then the trail leg force will be a lot bigger than the lead leg force. And also you have a net increase in the force with this active push. This can go a bit higher. And then you have most of the force acting on the trail side here. So this is good. And then also, particularly what's nice here is that if you look at this force here, the trail foot force is pretty much passing through the right hip in the frontal view. So the direction of the push is really good. And then the combined force here, this is slightly inclined toward the target, here, which is good. So this creates an environment where you can push the ground in the horizontal direction. This, the right side, the trail side is generating more horizontal force than the leader side. That's why the net force is leaning this way. So using that, you can move this way, but you can increase that horizontal force a bit more, then you can generate the recentering a bit earlier. Okay? But this arrow, the direction of this arrow is really good. It has this separation here, and then it's inclined that way. This separation, so here's the force arrow. You have the red dot is the center of mass. And this gap here is called the moment arm, the lower one here. Moment arm or lever arm. Imagine you're using a wrench. Then this distance is the moment arm. So that's the separation between this arrow and the red dot here. The longer the better. Because if you multiply this moment arm and the force magnitude, that gives the torque, the upper one here. So this is the torque you generate in the frontal view, in the frontal plane. So if you have a longer moment arm, then this force will be, the torque will be larger. That means you can generate the rotational acceleration.
So a simple example would be a wider stance with increased moment arm?
No, not necessarily. It depends on the direction of the force, where it's acting, and then the direction of force. In your case, you are shifting this to the trail side well by using the force difference between the two. And also it's a slightly inclining toward target, and then you have this good momentum here. So this is a good momentum actually during the backswing. But you can probably have more horizontal force here so that you can generate that the recentering motion a bit early. Now, at this point here, now the force is passing through the center of mass. So then the momentum becomes zero. No momentum here. Then torque is zero here at this point. And then the force will go to this side. Then the direction changes. So now here the force is inclining this way here toward the target. And then this is when this is the end of pelvis rotation. Okay, pelvis rotation is completed here. But at this point, the momentum is not that long here. You can have this force inclined more. For that, you need to have more horizontal force. Yeah, that horizontal force will give you a good recentering motion. So by shifting away and then recentering here, you're pushing the ground So that horizontal force will allow you to move back, recenter. So if you have good recentering motion, then this will incline more. Then you have a longer momentum at this point. But currently the momentum is not that long here because the force is still passing close to the center of mass. So the torque is about here. Now, if you look at the force pattern here the force is greater than the body weight, but here the force is less than the body weight. This is called the unweighting.
What?
Unweighting.
Unrated?
Yeah. So if you're just standing on the ground, then the ground reaction force and your body weight will be equal to each other. When you push a bit harder than that, it's active push. And then after that, you cannot keep pushing harder. If you keep doing that, then the body will jump. It will leave the ground. If you want to maintain the contact with the ground, that means that when you push harder, then later you have to push less. So in the vertical direction, we interact with the ground by using active push, followed by recentering, unweighting, and then pushing again. So we have a push here, active push, unweighting here, and then active push again here. So generally we have a stepping-like action here. We have trail side push, and then leader side push here. So between these pushes, you have good unweighting automatically. When you just have a good push and push, that between the pushes, your force decreases, and you have unweighting. But you have hesitation here. So this is what we see because of the slow backswing here. If you have a faster backswing, one continuous motion all the way here, then this hesitation will go away, and then you have just a continuous unweighting all the way to this peak here. Okay, but because here you have more time here, you finish it here, and then here the arms moving only here, you have hesitation there, then you are decreasing the unweighting here, but you need to have continuous unweighting all the way, okay, and then push hard here. So this is what we need to get rid of. For that, you need to speed up the backswing and have a good connection to the downswing in rhythmic motion. And then this push is good because you have a good unweighting here, but this unweighting is starting all over again. So you have a disconnect right here, the motion before that and the motion after that.
Want it to be smooth.
Yeah, but if you have a faster backswing, then you have good, better push here, then this unweighting will continue all the way and then push. So we'll be able to get rid of this hesitation. And then, so at the top of backswing here, now the moment time is longer than man's average here. So now the force starts moving toward the lead foot because your lead foot force is growing here. So the difference is reduced here. So it is moving toward the lead foot, and it still maintains this lean here. So now you have a long momentum. If you extend this line and then the separation, that's this momentum here. It's longer than man's average. And then the maximum momentum occurs about here. So with that long momentum, we are generating this amount of torque here, which is again above man's average. However, if you look at the shape, it goes up and then quickly coming down here. The area under the curve is really important. So this is torque, and then the area under the torque time curve is called the angular impulse. That's the accumulated effect of torque exertion. And then you need to ultimately have a large area under the curve here. But it's a kind of protruding and then quickly decreasing here. Instead, you have to maintain it for a bit longer. Okay. So this good push, this good torque is coming from long momentum here. But after that, it decreases rapidly here. So this is when the lead arm is parallel to the ground. It's decreased to this level here. When the club shaft aligns vertically here, that's this point here. So it's decreasing quite a bit. But if you can maintain it up here, then it'll be really nice. So again, by increasing the backswing speed, you can easily get rid of this here and then improve the connection. And in order to have a faster backswing, you have to push the ground harder here. Because in order to rotate, you need to increase the torque here. In order to rotate faster, you need to increase this torque. With that, you are rotating faster, right? So then this will go up. This force becomes larger. Perhaps you can have a longer momentum as well here. With that, when you have a larger torque, then automatically the backswing becomes faster. Then kick and then kick on this side here. So between the pushes, you have no hesitation like this. These will be connected really well. So that's the only thing here that I see. And then if you get rid of this, then this will increase early. So you will have this peak appearing a bit earlier, right after the top of backswing. This is top of backswing. Right after the top of backswing, this peak will occur, and then you'll be able to push. Your push is pretty good. This is above man's average. It's approaching to maybe about 1.9 times your body weight, which is good. Exceeding 2.2 times your body weight is not good. It's too much. It's an excessive push, unless you want to jump. So jumping is not good. So this is probably the most you can go, okay, without jumping. So again, in this one, the only thing that I see here is that if you increase this push more, then this goes high up here. You have a continuous unweighting all the way, then the connection will be a lot better. So it'll be beneficial to increase the backswing. For that, the right leg action is really important. In order to generate good turn, you have to push the ground. So with this push, the hip, if the hip is more or less moving upward rather than going backward too much, if you turn this way here, this gives good turn. And then using that, in the one-piece motion, one-piece turn all the way in one action, you kick and then kick on this side here. All you need to worry about is push and push. In between, you have automatically will have good unweighting, unless you, as long as you eliminate that hesitation, right? So push and then push. So during the push, what happens is, because this push, the center mass moves up, and then after that push, you're not pushing that hard. You have unweighting. Because of unweighting, your body drops here, and then kick and then goes up here. So center mass goes up, and then goes down, and then going up here. You can bring the center mass down more by using that unweighting. So for the motion, we have an up, down, and up motion here. For the force action here, you have push, unweight, and push. But if these are well connected in a dynamic, rhythmic manner, then you can increase the backswing speed. You will eliminate that hesitation. Okay? So now, let me compare you with someone else. So I'll bring up someone else's. So this is Grant Waite, a former PGA Tour player. He is using less than 1,000 millisecond time here. Yours is about 1,100 millisecond. So he's a bit shorter, and he's reaching peak angular velocity, the peak club head speed here in the backswing. So it's more toward the end of backswing. Top view, both are fairly parallel to each other, slightly inward. Swing plane here. This is the best shape here. So initially you are moving the club head along the swing plane, and then it goes above, and then have nice looping motion like this. So at the top of backswing, you can see that the hands and club head are fairly, it's deviated from the swing plane quite a bit here, but on the way down, because of this looping motion here, coming down to the swing plane similar to what yours here, at this similar timing here, and a good planar motion, and then going up here. So he has more up and down motion here. Instead of bringing this higher earlier, just initially move along the swing plane and then gradually move it up and then coming down here. So it gives really nice shallowing motion here. Pelvis, more balanced both ways here. He has more lateral tilt here. This pattern is similar to yours. This is similar to yours. This is similar to yours in shape. The only difference is this one here. The pelvis away and toward motion here. Initial away, but now it's a recentering here, going back to the initial position. And then this is endopelvis rotation, so pelvis transition point. Or this is when the central mass of the body reaches the high point. So up to that point, you have away, shift away, and then recentering motion here. Then continuous shift toward the target here. So this is the only difference between his and yours. And then X factor. He also has slight change in slope, but basically it's continuous more separation all the way here. He also reaches peak X factor at the top of action, similar to yours. Kinematic sequence. So he's reaching peak angular velocity here, almost at the center here. These are happening almost at the same time. Then the arms here, and then the club here. So the sequence-wise is very similar to yours, but timing is a bit more toward the center of the middle of the backswing. It's because his backswing is a bit faster than yours. And then the transition sequence. Look at this. Now, the thorax and shoulders are also separated here. So he has a long transition phase and the good spaced transitions. It's almost similar to yours, but in your case, the thorax and the shoulders were transitioning at the same time. But if you increase the backswing speed, then that will be automatically solved. And then in the downswing, again, the timing is very similar. So around this point, when the club is aligned vertically, then he reaches peak values here. The timing-wise is good. If you look at the wrist motion, again, good development of down cocking, and then the uncocking starts about here. It's very similar to yours in terms of timing. And then the way he's using the ground, this is a bit different from yours, slightly. So he has more pushy here. Okay? And then he starts with more difference here. So at the beginning, he has more force using the leader side here. So this allows active backswing. So in order to have active backswing, you should have a subtle body motion before that here. So that when you start the backswing, you can actively start. But if you're standing from here and then try to start, then it's limited. But then the force becomes equal to each other here at this point. And then now he's pushing good here. This peak is a bit higher than yours. Good push, and then followed by continuous unweighting here. So these force differences are similar to yours. And then, so continuous unweighting all the way to this point here. At the maximum unweighting, he has the longest momentum. And then, so at the beginning of, this is the beginning of downswing here. This is end of pelvis rotation. Then this is already about half of this value here. And then this is top of action here. At top of action, he's generating torque, the same to elite man's average maximum. Remember, the shape can be like this. So the peak here, and then before and after, you can have a lot lower value. But in this case, at the beginning of the downswing, he already generated this large torque. And then it goes even higher here, and then goes down slightly. So about here, when his club is vertical here, up until this point, if you take an average, then the average should be similar to elite man's average maximum. So he's generating good amount of torque here. And then he has good push, but his push is a bit less than yours. But he is pushing like around 185% of the body weight. Yours should be a bit higher than that. So during the early phase of downswing, he generates a good amount of torque here. With that, he can accelerate the body early. So the difference is that he doesn't have this hesitation here. That's pretty much the only difference. But in order to get rid of that, you have to have a more active push here, and then continuous unrating here. So for that, you have to start actively like this. So you have a little bit of a trigger motion and then start actively. Then automatically the backswing will become faster. So he shares a lot of similarities, okay, with your pattern, but there are some subtle differences. And then the main thing is, I think, the backswing speed, and then the hesitation here in your pattern. But your pattern is actually surprisingly good. I've seen many professional players, but they are hitting the ball with the muscles. Okay? In terms of body motion, you don't see this kind of pattern that often. So you should be proud of that.
Thank you.
Okay? So any questions?
No.
So let's work on a bit faster backswing and then slight recentering motion here. Once you have that feel, then you can just practice. Yeah? Okay, then I will...
I have one question. So his torque, you see it has a double peak.
Yep.
Right? Almost at the end of the pelvic rotation, he generates at that point the most torque.
This is top of backswing.
Okay. Yeah.
Slide after that, he has a first peak here. This is mainly coming from the momentum, because the force is still in the unrating phase here. The force is not that large. But by using this momentum, he reaches the first peak. The second peak is coming from the best combination of force and momentum here. So the momentum is already decreasing here, but the force is now increasing rapidly. And this force and this momentum gives the best combination, and then he reaches another peak here. So as if he has a bonus peak. So usually you see one peak here. And then either you have a bonus peak at the beginning of the downswing, or, so this is typically when the peak occurs. That means that he has a bonus peak here. Because at the top of backswing, if you look at his posture at the top, still the center pressure is fairly located close to the trail side. But the force inclines quite a bit here. It's because of a large horizontal force, and also good unrating here. So unrating gives less vertical force. If this point goes down, then the arrow will incline more. And then if you have more horizontal force, then also it will incline more. So the combination of more horizontal force and then good unrating, that gives good inclination of the force arrow, while the center pressure is still located close to the trail side here. So that's why he generates this good momentum here. This is quite rare to see. So that's why I'm using his as a kind of model pattern, because I see a lot of positive aspects in his yeah, so. Okay, then let's stop here, and then we'll move back to the other room, and then have a little bit of time to work on that recentering and then speed of the backswing.